She told me, I think we're just too comfortable. I need space to see if you're the one. I gave her exactly what she asked for. Now she's crying in an empty apartment, calling a man who no longer exists. I'm 34, and for nearly 3 years, I thought I was building something real with the woman I loved. We shared a home, memories, daily routines, everything that comes with a serious relationship. It wasn't always perfect, but I truly believed we were working towards something lasting. One evening, things took an unexpected turn. She came home quiet, more reserved than usual. After dinner, she asked if we could talk. That alone wasn't strange. We often made time to check in with each other, but her tone was different this time. She sat across from me on the couch and said, I've been thinking a lot lately, and I think I need some space. I blinked, not quite sure I'd heard her right. Space. She nodded, avoiding my eyes. Yeah, I don't know if we're really right for each other. I'm not saying I don't love you. I just don't know if we're truly compatible. I feel like maybe we're just comfortable now, and that scares me. It felt like someone had pulled the rug out from under me. There had been no arguments, no distance, no warnings, at least not that I noticed. 1 week earlier, we were making plans for a weekend getaway. Now, she was telling me she didn't know if I was the one. I asked her if this was really what she wanted, and she said, I think I need time to figure that out. So I respected that. I packed a small bag, told her I'd give her space, and left that night. No shouting match, no dramatic exit. I just left. It hurt like hell, but I wasn't going to beg someone to keep me in their life if they weren't sure they wanted me there. The first night was the worst. I stayed at a friend's place, barely slept, and kept replaying everything in my head. Had I missed signs? Was I blind to something that had been building for months? The questions were endless. But over the next few days, the fog started to lift. I realized something. Love shouldn't need to be constantly proven under pressure. If someone can't feel secure without creating chaos, is that really love? Still, I kept my phone nearby, wondering if she'd reach out again. Maybe there would be some clarity or closure. But she didn't. Not for a whole week. I tried not to think too much about what she was doing, whether she was hurting, or if she was even thinking about me at all. It was easier said than done. You don't just shut off feelings after nearly 3 years. During that week, I started making mental notes about my next steps. If this really was over, what did that mean for the apartment, for our shared bills, for the life we built together? Part of me held on to hope. The other part had already started letting go. And then, exactly 7 days after I left, my phone lit up. Can we talk? That was all the message said. Just those 4 words. I stared at the screen for a while before replying. About what? She replied instantly. About us. What happened next wasn't what I expected at all. I met her at the apartment the next evening. She looked nervous, like she'd been rehearsing whatever she was about to say all day. I didn't sit. I just leaned against the wall, arms folded, waiting. She started slowly, avoiding my eyes again. So, I've had time to think. I stayed quiet. She sighed. Okay, I need to be honest. That whole breakup thing, it wasn't real. I blinked. What do you mean it wasn't real? It was a test, she admitted. I wanted to see how you'd react. I needed to know if you'd fight for me. If you'd show me that you couldn't live without me. I thought maybe you'd come back, or call nonstop, or, I don't know, propose or something. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You faked a breakup to see if I'd propose? I didn't plan it like that, exactly, she said quickly, her words tumbling out. I just thought maybe if I said I needed space, it would force some kind of emotional response. Something dramatic. I've been feeling unsure lately, like maybe we were just going through the motions, and I thought if you really loved me, you'd show me. I guess I wanted a sign. I stared at her for a moment, trying to make sense of it. So you decided to shake the foundation of our relationship just to see if I'd crack? She looked down, then nodded. I didn't expect you to actually leave. I thought you'd stay, or fight. You just disappeared. You told me you weren't sure if we were compatible, I said. You told me you needed space. What was I supposed to do? Cling to someone who's pushing me away? I thought if I gave you that ultimatum, you'd finally realize how much I mean to you, she said, her voice quieter now. I was trying to get a reaction. Not this. It was clear she thought this confession would somehow reset everything. Like the truth would undo the hurt, and we'd just go back to normal. But I wasn't angry. I was disappointed. Deeply. Not just because of the stunt she pulled, but because of what it revealed about how she saw love. You wanted a reaction, I repeated. So, you gambled the entire relationship to get it. And now that you didn't get the response you were hoping for, what? You want to rewind. She looked at me then, eyes a little glassy. I just want things to go back to how they were. I shook my head. They can't. You turned love into a test. You thought manipulating me would give you answers, but all it did was prove how little trust you had. For a moment, the room was silent. Just the faint hum of traffic outside the window and the heavy weight of words we couldn't take back. I never wanted to hurt you. she whispered. But you did, I replied. And now you've got your answer. She looked confused. What do you mean? I grabbed my bag from the chair and turned to the door. You wanted to see what I'd do if you walked away. Well, you saw it. It had been 4 more days since our last conversation. After I walked out that night, I didn't hear from her again. No texts, no calls, no follow-ups. Maybe she thought I'd cool off. Maybe she believed I just needed time to let it sink in. But I wasn't angry. I was finished. She had staged a breakup as an experiment, trying to provoke a proposal or some emotional outburst, and ended up proving something else entirely. The trust we had wasn't real anymore, if it ever was. That same night, I called the leasing office and started paperwork on a 1-bedroom I'd been eyeing for months, back when we were still planning our future. I signed the lease 2 days later, spent the next morning collecting my things while she was at work: clothes, books, photos, the art I'd hung, even the throw blanket my mom gave us for Christmas. It wasn't an angry purge. I took only what was mine. There was no note left behind. Just silence. No drama. No message. Just absence. The apartment looked colder when I left. A little hollow. I wondered if she'd even notice right away, or if she'd sit on the couch that evening expecting some movie night that would never happen. A day later, I blocked her on everything. Not to be cruel, just to make it final. I didn't want a follow-up message, or some teary, I didn't know what I was doing apology. I didn't want closure through guilt. I already had my answer. Then, late that weekend, a mutual friend texted me something simple. She came back. You weren't there. She looked shocked. I didn't respond. What was there to say? From what I heard later, she walked into the apartment and froze when she saw the space where my bookshelf used to be. Open drawers, empty hangers, the toothbrush holder with only one left. She apparently stood there for a long time, maybe waiting for me to appear or explain everything in some tidy way that would make her feel better about it. But that's not how real life works. When you test someone's love by pretending to leave, you have to be ready for the possibility that they'll let you go. She moved out 2 weeks later. I don't know where to, and I didn't ask. I've since rebuilt quietly. My new apartment is smaller, simpler. No shared spaces, no tiptoeing around someone's moods or games. Just peace. Sometimes, I think about the good times we had. They were real, I believe that. But so was the moment she sat me down and tried to manipulate me into proving something she should have already known. That's the part one can't forget. Relationships aren't experiments. They're choices made every day. If she couldn't trust mine without staging a breakup, then the relationship was already over before she said a word. I don't hate her. I hope she learns from it. But I'm not going back. Anyway, that's my story. What would you have done if someone you loved pulled a move like that? Would you forgive or walk away like I did?